Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Vlog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope doing well. Today we're talking about Luke Skywalker, and so apparently Mark Hamill has now come out and officially said that Luke is dead. That Luke was indeed killed, and not just killed, but killed by the Force. Now this is quite an interesting concept, but at the end of the day, let's just start off with one basic question. Does this actually change anything? Does this actually make something and bring something new to the table that most people actually care about? Not really. I mean, the way that The Last Jedi ended, you assumed that he was dead. Now, the reason why that's problematic is because with Luke being dead, there's no reason to look forward to this trilogy. There's no reason to look forward to the next film because there's no connecting story arc that is worth a damn at this point. The only interesting thing about Episode 7 was, I wonder how they're going to tie in Luke Skywalker and all the other characters. They killed Han Solo, and then Luke Skywalker didn't come until the very end. You know, Leia was cool, but she was kind of in a limited background role to these new characters, which again, there's nothing wrong with, giving new characters, but when you market the film, when you try and say, we're going to be focusing on these characters, this is still the Skywalker saga, and you don't get the Skywalkers in there, guess what? That's gonna be a bit of a problem. And so what you ended up having was the film that was okay, but it still left a lot to be desired. Then you had you had The Last Jedi, and The Last Jedi just said, remember all those expectations? Remember all those really cool things that were set up in The Force Awakens? Psh, didn't happen. Or, yeah, we're just going to crap over all that idea. I'm going to subvert all your expectations, and you're just going to have to deal with it because this movie isn't being made for you. This isn't a movie for the fans. It's about the fans, or it's for my own personal theatrical and artistic vision of what I want the film to be. I mean, that's just like all the garbage that they were putting out as to why the film, you got over yourself. It wasn't made for you. Well, last time I checked, any major multi-billion-dollar company or corporation that creates a art or a medium that is consumed is making it for a fan and is making it to be consumed. And when you make something that when people consume, they say, this isn't very good, and I'm not a really big fan, or to the best you'd say, I don't really know how to feel about this, those aren't good reactions. Those are not good thoughts to have, especially when you have a giant corporation, or rather even better, a giant intellectual property as Star Wars, where you have almost no limitations on what you can do, and yet somehow, some way, Rian Johnson and others, Rian Johnson and Friends, it should be like its own Saturday morning cartoon, Rian Johnson and Friends, I have this great idea for a trilogy. What you gonna talk about? I'm gonna talk about Wookiees and how they are actually all male. Okay, Ryan, and what are you going to say? Well, they still reproduce, right? So what I'm going to try and do is say that, that reproduction is beyond gender. Okay, Ryan, you just go ahead and take care of, whatever it is you want. But, like, seriously, that is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who have no idea how to tell stories. We're dealing with people who have no idea how to actually make connections. Because I really do feel like, and people still give me crap for this, I feel like J.J. Abrams left, like, several balls waiting to be hit out of the park. And Rian Johnson not only just swung and missed at them, but took them and just threw them away. I said, no, I don't care about these. I don't care that you're giving me these amazing setups. I'm just going to go off on my own path, make my own movie, and the entire rest of the universe can absolutely be damned. And one of the things that happened was Mark Hamill just fades away at the very end. And so most of us said, okay, he died. Well, now I have no interest whatsoever in this movie anymore because guess what? None of the new characters are that compelling. Anything that was interesting about them in the first film was done away with in Episode 8. And so now we're left with, okay, so what you got now? And notice how every single day you hear, they're bringing back Lando Calrissian, or Mark Hamill's on set, or they're going to bring back all of these little nuggets. They're going to bring back all of these little nostalgia pieces to try and bring the fan base back. But you got to the point now where it's just not enough. I keep going back. Bob Iger said, it's too much too soon. No, this is just a too little too late scenario. You are trying to do too much now, and it's not going to bring people back. Because no matter how hard you try, unless you erase Episode 8 from canon, maybe even parts of Episode 7, you're not going to bring a lot of people back. There's a lot of people. And you could say, you're saying that, and you don't have an actual number. You're right, I don't have an actual number. And I'm never going to claim that I have an actual number. I'll throw out percentages because that's based on my own perception. It's based on what I've actually seen, the people that I've actually talked to, and the people that I've listened to. And so I'm able to, make some educated judgments based on that. But you're right, I don't have any exact numbers. But what I do know, and with the numbers that I do have, are box office numbers. Last Jedi, $700 million less than The Force Awakens. The next film to come out after The Last Jedi was Solo. Didn't even break $400 million. Lost Lucasfilm and Disney $200 million. And you can say, because again, it might be true, over time they'll make the money back through Blu-ray sales and through giving it to Netflix and blah, 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 and all these other things. And that might be true. But it's going to be very hard to make up $200 million. Again, you're talking about a few million here and there. We're talking about $200 million that was lost on this film, on Solo. And we cannot help but look at the fact that it came and stemmed directly from the reaction to The Last Jedi and what The Last Jedi did to the fan base. And one of the main things, one of the primary things that people point to is how Luke Skywalker was treated. In fact, people have been calling him Jake Skywalker because it was not Luke. And people can try and say, oh no, they gave us a good character arc. We know why he did that. No. We were given nothing. No one goes from, I am going to sacrifice myself to save my father, to, oh, this person is beyond saving, I'm going to kill them, and they happen to be a teenager. No one goes through that kind of a transition in the way that they presented at the very least. If there's some other things that happen, they left some pretty big things out that would lead to Luke becoming that kind of a person. But based on everything that came before it, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And so when Luke faded away at the end, we were just like, okay, so we were left with this image of a Jake Skywalker type character who we just don't care about. And we're supposed to be okay with that. We're supposed to be fine with that. And so now when Mark Hamill coming out here is trying to say, oh yeah, look at this. This is interesting, right? Oh, this is fascinating. And he says this. He says, the Force on Twitter. The Force killed Luke. You have to acknowledge the irony in his fate, almost like an addict that kicked his habit cold turkey, remained clean for decades, only to reuse just once and then, tragically, overdoses. To compare the use of the Force to that of a drug is also to be ignorant of what the Force has been established by, or established as, in all the previous films. The Force is within all people. It penetrates us and binds us all together. So I understand that he's trying to make this kind of a connection here, but it doesn't work. Based on everything that we know, based on everything that's been revealed to us about the Force, it just does not work. It doesn't make any sense. And if this is what they're going to try and do, because again, this is just coming from Mark Hamill. This is not coming from the producers. This is not coming from any of the writers. But he's the one that's been confirmed to be in this movie in some form or fashion, as a Force ghost or as anything else. But if the Force killed him, then it begs the question, well, how could he be a Force ghost? If the Force is what killed him, then, maybe he's not going to be a Force ghost. Maybe it's just going to be a flashback. And then when you think about that, you're like, oh, God, that's stupid. But if he is a Force ghost, you think to yourself, okay, well, are they going to try and use this? Are they going to try and use this whole the Force killed Luke thing? That his body couldn't take it anymore. Which, again, just doesn't make sense, seeing that the Force is what binds people together and gives life and sustains life, is what they pretty much established it at. In fact, the Force is very much like, not to be Catholic for a second, but like the Holy Spirit. It's what sustains life. It's what sustains the universe. For that to kill somebody, it just seems quite odd. It seems quite odd to actually say that. However, I will say this, that when we have to look at this, and when we look at this in general, what this does is it doesn't really add anything to the discussion. In fact, all this does is remind people, oh, wait a minute, that's right, Luke Skywalker got killed. How are they going to fix this? And when you have Mark Hamill coming out saying, Luke's dead, it could be one of two things. One, he is dead. They're going to bring him back as a Force ghost. Everything that we accept, or rather, everything that we assume is going to happen is end up going to happen, and then we just have to deal with it. And that's one option. The second option is he's just trying to throw people around. He's just trying to bring people on this journey and say, oh, look, that's right, I'm actually alive. I actually just transported myself. Or, oh, yeah, we're actually going back in time. And I know that those aren't the best options. I know that those aren't the cleanest options in the world. But at the end of the day, is it better than what we got in The Last Jedi? Yeah, it kind of is. Especially if it's something that can make The Last Jedi never happen. If it can say, oh, The Last Jedi, remember that film? Yeah, none of it ever happened. Or key parts to it, hyperspace ramming, etc. Never happened. Wouldn't that be wonderful? But anyway, guys, what are y'all's thoughts about this? Do you think that Mark Hamill, what do you think he's trying to do here? Do you think he's just going, musing through his thoughts and decided to put them on Twitter? Do you think that he's trying to reveal something about his character that has been established by J.J. Abrams or other people in the infamous story group of Lucasfilm? Oh, the story group, guys. Yeah, they said the Force killed me. And I thought, oh, that's a pretty good idea. I'll go ahead and put that on Twitter. I mean, guys, what do you think about this? I really would love to hear your thoughts on it. Also, Do you think that this is going to lead to Luke not being a major part of the next film? And this is going to be the first film where it kind of can't help it, where none of the Skywalker family, or none of the original characters, except for Chewbacca maybe, but even I think that they're probably going to try and kill Chewbacca, because they're going to try and kill every single thing attached to the original universe, because that's just my own opinion on it. But what do you think they're trying to reveal here? Or if you think they're trying to reveal anything, I would love to hear your thoughts about that, guys. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. You are all amazing, amazing people. I love you guys so much. Have a great day. And as always, God bless.